فوزی خوب هستی؟ ما تو پیش بریم سنفه.
سلام. خوب هستی ها؟ من گفتم که میس کرده باشمش خطایی را چه کرد؟
بله؟
من گفتم میس نشده باشه سن پس پیشم خطا.
نه مثل نشده. وقت آمدیم ما تو.
خب هفته گذشت.
کمره من خوبش نشان میده؟ کامپیوتر خراب است کامپیوتر من اینی میاله هیچ کرده که جوش کرده مقا.
نه خب معلوم میشی.
خب صحیح؟ سیاه و سفید بود پیشتر.
نه صحیح معلوم میشی.
ها؟
یک پشت سرم و خانه جلجلک میکنه خود روشن کت رایم.
ایره آخر من تو کت هدیه که عکس خوب شد اگه نه که پیشتر سیاه و سفید بود باز هدیه ایره گفت بگرم خراب است مگرم باز چی خوب میشه. باز من گفتم صحیح است.
شاگرده که نه.
ای تو وضعیتش خراب است خاطر واکسین شده امروز.
وی
3 دانه واکسین. دیشب مریضم بود تا 5 صبح من امرایزی شیشته بودم.
چرا؟
تاو داشت خو نمیکد سی مچم که دل درد بود چی بود باز صبح دیگه باز خیست امروز هم سی خو نشده خو شده 1 دقیقه باز خسته وقت دکتر داشت رفتم بردم واکسین کردم این حالم دیگه قرار شیشته نیم اینجا پایش کلش چسب کردگی چک چک بود چک 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 چک
رایان
حالا صدای تا نمیشناسه عکس ده ببینه
باشه ما در یک تاریکی در اتاق آمدیم قرار رفتاریم ما دستم فدگه داشتم نی گنگسم کردن امروز امتحان داشتیم
یه استادم پیشتر یکان چیز دیدم که مچم 1-2-3 اکتیویتی دیگه را باز پست کرده تا 21 سپتامبر دیو دیت میشه اینی استادم سرمایات گرفت
اون دیگه را نکرده بودیم منی
زیاد چیزا را من نکردیم یک نامه را نوشته همون نامه که بود نی نوشته کردم دیشب بود یا پریش سبمیت کردم حال دیدم که بر من از 20-15 داده گفتم باشه که ازش پرسان کنم ماله که چرا 15 دادی کامنت هم هیچ نبود نه رفتم دیدم هیچ کامنت هم نداده بود یعنی چرا مثلا 15 دیگاش هم خویش نکردیم سر جایش هست
ما هم بکنم خیلی ما میکردم آدم قدر وقت ما هفتم باش که خوب صحیح آدم با مطریقش خوب پیش برم
مهم است کتاب شد بخوانم از مام نمیشه سنفای دیگه که دیودیت میشه
progress. Progress.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Professor.
How are you, Gorthan?
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Just make sure everything is ready here.
I missed your class.
That's what the Zoom recording is for.
Yes. I was in Cabo.
Hey,
It was very fun. So
very nice. Very, very nice. Fauzia says hi. Hi there, Fauzia. Hi to everybody as you guys are coming in. I'm glad you're saying that. That's great. Hey, Parisa.
Hello, Professor.
Mursan.
Hi.
I see Khalida's in the chat there too. Hi, Khalida. Hi, Bao. Bao's in the chat saying hi. Hi there. Who else came in here? Zainab came in and Gustavo Gus came in. Hi, you guys. Just saying hi.
Hello.
Hi there. All right.
Are you sitting in a corner to teaching us?
Say again.
Are you teaching us in the corner?
In the
corner?
see,
in the background?
in the corner. Oh, this is the hallway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, behind there's a door. Behind there's a door. Hi, Ina. Yeah, sometimes when I get tired though, usually at this class I'm fine, but sometimes you'll see me like move the computer and I kind of lean against the wall, but that's usually Monday, Wednesday are my longest Zoom days. So Tuesdays usually I'm alive. I've got energy for you guys, you know. There's a few people who take 325 class after this, but by about, 8 o'clock or 8:30, then I do get a little like, all right, good. I'm running out of coffee. Hi, Anna.
Good evening.
Hi there. Bibi's here too. Zuchal's here. Hi, you guys. Just saying hi as you come in.
Hi, Professor.
Hi there, Bibi. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad you're here. Hope you're doing well.
Hello, Professor.
Hey, Zuhal. All right, we'll start in maybe 1 or 2 minutes. We got a pretty good group here already. That is fantastic. How you guys doing? Week 4, 1 month already. How you doing? Your silence is scaring me, you guys. We've got 11 more weeks. Okay, let's not talk about it. Let's stay
We are
happy.
fine, Professor. We are fine.
Unbelievable. It's past 4 weeks.
I agree completely. This semester feels extra fast to me too, Khalida. I'm like, a month for real? Oh my goodness. But here we are. Here we are. Internet time, Zoom time is very fast, hyperactive time. Things move very quickly, I think. Oh, more people coming in. Who's here? Zukra's here. Mursal came in. Oh, I already said hi to Mursal. Vanessa's here. Hi, Vanessa.
Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi. All right. Cool. Well, we'll get started. Before I do introduce today's lesson and keep talking about, today we're going to talk about one assignment that will sort of be the last time that we look at the parts of speech this tiny in this small detail. So we're about to move on to sort of away from words. We'll start to look at sentences in a second here next week. But
Hi, Professor and everyone. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. Do you have a question, Kamgar?
No, just say hi.
Oh, hi there. Hi.
I'm present. That's for all ones.
I'm happy you're here. I see Arifa came in too, so great. Good to see you guys. Perfect. Any little questions, any Canvas problems or any computer stuff that I can answer right away? If not, I just wanted to show you one thing and then we'll start talking about our lesson here. So I did get to grade, not everything, but a lot of the things that are in Canvas here. So I just wanted to show you, if you're new to ARC or if you don't know how to use Canvas, I want to make sure that you can see my comments that I left for you. So for example, I got to grade the welcome letter assignment and the language power tutorial 7, I think that quiz here. First, I just wanted to show you, if you go to your grades, excuse me, I'm going to make sure I explain this clearly here. So if you go to grades, right, this is what you guys see. I'm in my test student mode. If you go to grades, then you'll sort of see a list of all your grades and all your points and all that good stuff. So if you want to see my comments, you can do that a few different ways. You can move over here and click these little text boxes here. And if you click that, then this will open up and you'll see my comments, right? So this is, again, this is an example student. This is not any of you guys. This is just to show examples. So for example, I wrote, test student, excellent work on your letter. I loved learning about your goals and blah, blah, blah. And then I also said minus 10 points for being under 300 words. So if you lost any points or if you saw a comment from me about losing points, you can email me or text me if you need more information. But I tried to make that clear in these comments. So again, if you go to grades, click the two little text boxes here. That will allow you to read my comments, okay? The other thing that I wanted to show you is if you click on the tutorials here, this is for the quiz. I wanted to make sure that this is one thing I hate about Canvas. Make sure you go to this bar to scroll down. It's kind of like a window inside the window, but once you figure it out, it's pretty clear. And then if you, like, for example, if I gave you a half point instead of 1 point, I tried to explain why in this box down at the bottom, right? So not every question will have one because this is 1 out of 1, right? But if you lost a half a point or a full point, you'll see this little box here, and this is my comment explaining what was going on, right? So in the first one, my example was Sacramento is very foggy in the winter. I correctly identified it as a noun, but my explanation was it's a place and a thing. Okay, that's part right. But remember, we're also testing some of the new ways that we can know parts of speech. So I added, it is the subject of the sentence and all subjects are nouns, right? So again, I just wanted to make sure everybody knows where to go to see my comments, to help you understand any mistakes you made, or just to give you comments and feedback, right? So you can do that by clicking these boxes here, or just click the link to the assignment in the quizzes and then see my answers below. Does this make sense about how to see my comments, how to view my feedback? I'll keep showing you this all semester because it's really important that you see my corrections, right? I don't want to just take points away. I want you to understand the mistakes that you made. So I want you to know where you can find that information in Canvas. So any questions at all about what I just showed you guys?
No, but I can see
No,
from
thank you, Professor.
Cool. And like I said, if you're confused or if you disagree and you're like, Jeff, how could you? I should get that point. Just email me or text me. We can talk about it. Okay, not a problem.
I think from phone I can see the comment. I never see box like when I could see.
I don't know, Ina. I can look up, maybe just if you Google Canvas comments on phone, because this is like I tried to say, I am a little bit ignorant about how to use Canvas on the phone because I do everything from my laptop. So if I can Google it too, but
No, I will do it, but I didn't see. Probably I have to log in there.
I'm sure you could do it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but see teacher comments in Canvas.
I also checked with my phone, but I didn't see any comment, but I lost the points.
Yeah, I'll say a prayer. This is my thing. If I'm honest with you guys, I don't want to be a Canvas expert. They don't pay me to be a Canvas expert. So I don't want to learn how to use a Canvas on an Android and an iPhone and a Windows phone and a laptop and a MacBook. It's too much. It's too crazy. Let's see. I'll just put this into the link. And if it's helpful, I'm not sure, but we'll see. Yeah, I know the phone is a different game. The phone's a different deal. But I promise my comments are there and you can see them some way. I'm just not a phone Canvas expert. Forgive me. Any other questions or ideas before we get started with today's lesson? Let's go. All right, here's what we're doing today. I've got a warm-up activity, the last time to sort of think about some of our parts of speech here. And then I'm going to introduce the Grammar Writing 1 assignment, right? This is, if you remember from the syllabus, the majority, most of your grade from this class comes from these 3 or 4, we'll see, sort of bigger writing assignments where you analyze your own writing instead of analyzing things from a textbook. I will tell you all about that. Then I've got a short review to look at some function words, especially auxiliaries versus prepositions. Not very many of you have done lesson 8, where you review the function words. So I'm not sure if people are waiting to do it or still confused. I'm happy to give you some more information about that. And if we have time, we'll look at subjects and verbs to get us ready to talk about clauses and sentence types, okay? But first, I've got a warm up for you, and just by yourself, I'll give you maybe 3 or 4 minutes by yourself right here. What I want you to do, I've got 2 sentences right here. I want you to identify the parts of speech for at least 4 words. You choose the 4 words. I don't care, right? But I want you to tell me what part of speech for 4 of the words in the sentence. And then for each sentence, I want you to identify the content and the function words, right? So just as an example here, so that you know what I'm asking you to do. So in this sentence, I should get more sleep at night. Let's do an easy one here. Sleep. What part of speech is sleep?
Verb.
It's a verb
Verb.
showing an action.
I should get
Oh,
more
Get
sleep.
it's a noun.
Thank you. Yeah.
Or
What's
mhm.
this is great. I'm happy we're reviewing. What's the verb in this sentence?
Get
Get.
get. Oh,
Oh,
yes.
Thank you very much. But here, this doesn't matter. The next question, when you said sleep is, in this case, it is a noun, not a verb. But is it a content word or a function word?
It's a function.
Ah,
the content.
No,
It's action.
remember, content words, nouns, adjectives, adverbs, words that have meaning by themselves. Function words, grammar words like prepositions and conjunctions. Right? So that's all I'm asking you to do for these 2 sentences. Identify 4 parts of speech. You choose the 4 words, but then identify the parts of speech. And then for each word, do your best to figure out if it's content or function. Okay. Again, I'm going to give you about 4 minutes or so, 5 minutes to do this by yourself. Then I'll show you the answers and we'll talk about it. Okay. So 5 minutes ago, I'm going to mute myself, but I'm here if you need me. Just send me a message in the chat and have fun. This will get you ready, by the way. This will get you ready for our first big assignment. So 5 minutes to complete this warm up, and then we'll look at the answers together. See you in 5. All right. Just a few seconds left until you're finishing up. I saw Zuhra posted her answers in the chat. That is great. If you want to do that, feel free. I think the way I want to do this is I just want to show you the answers and then talk about any questions you have or if you got something wrong, because I want to make sure we have time to talk about other things at the end of class. So here's for the first sentence. I should get more sleep at night. I've got I pronoun. Should is an auxiliary. Oops, that's my mistake. AUX. Get is the verb. More is an adverb. Sleep is an adjective. At is a preposition. And night is a noun. If we've done all this correctly, right, that means our content words are I get more sleep night. And our function words are really should, the auxiliary, and at is the preposition. Questions, agree or disagree. If you got something wrong, understand why. Let's talk about this.
Why sleep is adjective?
Yes.
You're right. That is absolutely my mistake. That is absolutely my mistake. Sleep is a noun, as I said before. That was just
Yes, it's now.
typo in my typing for the slide. Thank you, Bibi. Totally my mistake.
Preposition.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else that's not my mistake?
I don't have a question about that, but how do we write a definition for at? It's a preposition.
Yeah. At preposition. So how would you? So if I ask you to explain how you know. Yeah.
I know it's preposition, but.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. It's a little bit difficult. Prepositions, I mean, in a certain way, we know that there's a list of words that act as prepositions. We talked about those, right? In, at, of, by, to, under, over, all those things.
Yeah.
But what prepositions do is they begin prepositional phrases and they are followed by object noun phrases. And now this is tricky. I think I said this last week, right? Like this is sort of like, say, it's like defining, using the definition. Who cares? It doesn't matter. But the way that the clue is, right, it's one of those tiny little words, at, in, of, or sometimes a little longer, over, under, and then it's followed by a noun. Remember last week I said in the car, under the table, in the book, on the book, whatever it is. So here we've got at, and then even though we don't have a determiner, we don't have an article, but we do have a noun. So this really is the best way to sort of prove or explain that something is a preposition. Does that make sense, Bibi?
Yes, thank you. And this explanation we can do for determiner as well.
For a determiner, let's look, we've got a determiner in the next sentence. So
Okay.
let's talk about defining determiners in a second, and then are followed by an object noun phrase. Like if you're doing,
Thank you.
yeah, if we're analyzing a specific sentence, we could say in this sentence, the object NP, the object NP noun phrase is night, right? Like this way we could say very specifically sort of where the object noun phrase is to prove that it's a preposition, right? And you'll get some more practice with this as we keep going.
Cool.
You have mistake.
I'm sorry?
You have mistake. I is a pronoun in the function verb. Yeah, it's true.
Pronouns are a type of noun. Does that say that in the book?
Yeah.
Pronouns are function words? I feel like, am I losing my mind?
Pronoun is a function verb.
Let's find out. But pronouns are nouns, so it's hard to, let's see.
Pronoun is function.
Page 7.
This is one where I disagree with Professor Ferris, I think.
Page 7. Yeah.
Pronoun is a function verb.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, okay. I think I disagree with Professor Ferris now. I've taught this class for 3 years now, and I get, you're right though, in the book, pronoun But again, I just think it's strange because all pronouns are also nouns. So I don't know, maybe Professor Ferris is sort of making a highly specific point, but thank you, Anna, you're exactly correct. That's one where, so as like we said, content and function words, this will be the last time you practice it, because it's not that important that you do this for every sentence. It's just that you understand that some parts of speech have different functions in different sentences, right? Thank you, Anna. I think I need to make some changes to the next one too. How about the next one? Let's look at it and talk about what mistakes did I make? And so we know the pronoun goes here for the next one. But let's look at the sentence. So the sentence, I can hold my breath for 2 minutes. I is a pronoun. Can is an auxiliary. Hold is the verb. My is a determiner. Breath is a noun. For is the preposition. 2 is an adjective and minutes is a noun. Makes sense. Disagreement, questions, ideas.
So 2 is an adjective?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. So why is 2 an adjective in this sentence?
Because it's describing the minute.
Absolutely correct. So we could say something like, 2 is an adjective because it is, again, you know this word I wrote in a lot of comments in the quizzes and stuff. It is modifying the noun minutes, right? So basically, if it's modifying a noun, we're gonna treat it like an adjective, right? It's giving us more information about the noun. Perfect. What else?
Professor, I have a question.
I have a question.
Sure, I heard, I don't know who I heard first. Did I hear you, Gorthan? Who else has a question?
Yeah, I want to ask you about subject pronoun or pronoun. Is it correct to say both of them? For like,
in this case, I is the subject pronoun because it is a pronoun and it is also the subject. But in a sentence where I say something like, I gave you money, you is still a pronoun, right? But it's not the subject of that sentence. And in fact, that would be an object pronoun. It would be an indirect object pronoun. We haven't talked too much about direct and indirect objects, so don't worry about that too much, but it comes after the verb. It receives the action of the sentence. So that would be an object pronoun instead of a subject pronoun.
Perfect.
Great question. Who else? I heard someone else's voice.
Yes, I have a question. I want to make sure myself that am I right or no. Positive determin. I have a question between positive determiners and positive pronoun. I'm confused with two. How I can recognize the positive determiner? I think it's include his, her, it's, your, their. Yeah, am I right? Yeah.
Yep. And
also,
please go ahead.
And positive pronoun, how we recognize them in a sentence? It's a little tricky for me.
It's very difficult. And there's a page in the book. I'm trying to remember which chapter, but there's a very helpful chart. Where did it go? I might just Google it for time because I didn't have this in my slides today, but it's really kind of it. You don't have to memorize it, but there really is. This is it, and I'll put this in the chat too. It really is this simple. It's hard because sometimes they're the same, but here, possessive adjectives, again, here it's saying adjectives like determiner. This website, you can see the British flag. So I don't know if it's just different language, different cultural stuff. But here, when they say possessive adjective, that means possessive determiner. So my book, instead of this is mine, right? Or his book, but here, this one is hard, right? And I'll show you, yeah, this is his and his is especially difficult. Its and its is especially difficult. But otherwise, the possessive pronouns, as you can see, right, usually they're the ones with an S at the end. Yes. His, hers, its, ours, yours.
Also there's.
Yeah, and I'll show you, just to show an example. Let's even make this. And you can kind of see the difference, and I'm choosing his because it's so much more difficult than the other ones on the list, right? So
I think
please.
the first one, I think it's the determiner, yeah?
Yep.
Determiners.
Yeah, because what's it modifying?
No.
Absolutely correct. And in this case, is my verb, expensive is an adjective. So what do we have here? His has to be the subject of the sentence.
Pronoun, yeah.
That means it's got to be a noun. And just like you said, buddy, so that means it's got to be the pronoun, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Thank
this is
you.
the list. Absolutely. I'll save this. I'm going to save this and put it in the chat. I can put this in the slide for today too, just to make sure you know where to find it in the live support materials page. It's a great question. And you know what, buddy, say we'll keep practicing that one all semester long. Possessives in English are difficult because you can do it so many ways, right? Apostrophe S, possessive determiner, possessive pronouns. We can show possession in a lot of different ways. So it can be tricky.
Yeah. Sorry, I have one more question. I have question. I am confused with demonstrative determiners and relative pronoun with that, just with that.
Yeah, again,
Okay.
I'm going to talk about, we do like 2 weeks about the word that because it's used in so many different ways. So I want to make sure I stick to the lesson today, but I promise you, buddies, that by the end of the semester,
Okay.
a lot about relative, we will go there. We will go there.
Okay, thank you.
And
Thank you so much. It was very helpful.
it is really important. It's really important. Like in Professor Ferris's book, she's got a whole bunch of pages about how powerful the word that is in English. Okay, so in the chat, I'm just going to put the possessives image that I found online here. And then I'm also going to put it into the PowerPoint just to make sure you guys can find it wherever you want. Great. Okay, so did this activity make sense? Asking you to identify parts of speech and think about content or function? Perfect. All right, I did because I hope it makes sense because what I'm going to ask you to do for your first sort of big assignment is exactly what we just practiced together. Thank you, Gus, for saying yes in the chat. I appreciate you. All right, of course. Oh my goodness, my pleasure. It's so important. Okay, so I want to go back into Canvas to show you. So that was our sort of quick, easy warm up for some of the stuff we've done for the last 3 weeks. But now I want to go into Canvas and I want to show you where I posted this first Grammar Writing 1 assignment. And then I want to teach you how to do it. So if you go to modules, it's down here at the bottom, Grammar Writing 1. As it says here, and I'll talk more about this due date. Remember, these are the only assignments with due dates. We'll talk about this in a moment here. But here's the instructions. Carefully read and review the instructions in the assignment sheet below. Also rewatch the Zoom recordings for the first few weeks of class. Here's the assignment sheet. Remember, you can click this arrow to preview, download, whatever you need to do. I've just got it downloaded here on the computer. Like I always tell you, this is the way I like to do it. So first, I'm just going to read through the instructions, okay? And then we'll talk a lot about it. I'll answer all your questions, but first I'm just going to tell you what I want you to do, okay? So Grammar Writing 1, instructions. For this assignment, I'm asking you to analyze your own writing for parts of speech, as well as content and function words. To do this, I want you to, 1, copy and paste 8 sentences from your introduction letter or one of your discussion posts for this class, right? Again, that's what I told you. I'm not too picky about what you write in your discussion post when I grade the discussions. The idea is to make you write so that you have some of your own words to analyze. So it's got to be something you wrote for this class, the introduction or one of your 2 discussion posts. Then for each sentence, remember 8 sentences, I want you to identify the parts of speech for at least 6 words. You choose the words. And then I want you to list all of the content and the function words. Finally, I want you to write a short reflection, 300 words, about what you learned from the analysis. Again, I want you to do this type of analysis for 8 sentences of your own writing that you have already done for this class. As I say then, after you analyze your 8 sentences, I want you to write a short reflection, 300 words, about what you learned about your own writing. What did you notice? Do you use the same types of sentence over and over? Do you use a lot of prepositions, too many adjectives, not enough adjectives, right? There's no right answer to these questions. So you just have to sort of use your own critical thinking about what you noticed when you analyzed your own sentences. And please review the example assignment on page 3. I'll show you that in just a moment. Vanessa is asking, this document is on Canvas? Absolutely, Vanessa. That is this document. And remember, I opened this document by going to the Grammar Writing Run assignment and clicking this link right here, these big blue sentences that says assignment sheet, instructions, due dates, grading example. Of course, Vanessa, of course. All right, so now to go back in here. Oh, you're so welcome to everybody. So basic information, right? The assignment, the due date, the first draft of this is due 1 week from today. That's Tuesday, September 21st. I put it in Canvas at midnight, so it can be after next week's Zoom if you have last second questions or something. Then the second draft, you're going to have 1 week from the date of my first grade and feedback to resubmit your writing for a higher grade. So these are my favorite assignments to do, you guys, because usually what happens is if you do your first draft, maybe you get a 70% or an 80%. But for students who want to come talk to me, work with me in one-on-one, I am always happy to talk about your errors, help you understand them, and then fix them, revise, resubmit. Almost always, you guys, if students take the time to do 2 drafts or definitely 3 drafts, you can absolutely get a very high grade on these projects, right? And like I said, these projects are the majority of your overall grade for this semester. So I hope that after I give you feedback and tell you about your mistakes, you can meet with me one-on-one, or we can talk about how you revise and resubmit your assignment. So again, the first draft is due in 1 week. Then it usually takes me about a week to grade them. And then you'll have 1 week after I give you the first grade to revise and resubmit. And we can talk about that one-on-one and all that stuff. So here's the grading for the rubric. 50 points is for your analysis. Did you do the correct analysis? Did you identify the parts of speech correctly? 20 points is just for your own editing in the reflection paragraph. You know, did you write nice sentences? Did you use proper punctuation when you wrote the reflection? And then the self-reflection is just, did you do this, right? Sometimes students skip the reflection. The reflection's worth 20 points, right? And actually the reflection's worth 30 points because if you write 300 words in your reflection, you get 10 points. If you don't write 300 words, you lose 10 points. So write 300 words. So that's the grading and the rubric. Now, I wanted to show you here, the next 3 pages of these documents, you guys, are examples. And I want you to just follow this example. You can copy and paste this example and then just use your own words and your own analysis, right? That's why I'm giving you this example document. But before we look at the example document together, any questions about the first 2 pages and the instructions before we look at examples? See in the chat. Ina says, thanks for the example. You've got it. It's a new and different type of assignment. It's important that you see how to do it, right?
Yeah, because sometimes teacher like you wants like something from students and they confuse. Even they don't know, like they know how to write, but like, you know, when you get like direction, they have idea. Like they can write in own words different, like about something other, but like it's like an idea. It's helpful really. And like also like you can be on the right way, not like just write some, I mean.
I totally agree. I think a big part of being an effective, successful teacher in 2021 online COVID learning is, do you have clear instructions? That is a big challenge. You know, the teachers always know what they want, but some teachers don't do a good job of explaining what they want to the students. And that can be tricky. That can be tricky. All right, so let's look at the example together, right? So again, this is not a writing class. I'm not grading you on your structure, but again, it's good practice to just learn MLA formatting. Every paper you write at college will look like this, right? Your name at the top, my name after that, the number of the class, right? And then the due date for the project. And notice again here, I'm in Microsoft Word, but even if you're in Google Documents, right? Times New Roman font, 12-point size. This is just sort of a good habit to get into when you start a new document. So here's the title, Grammar Writing 1, right? And then part 1, grammar analysis. So these would be my 8 sentences, right? This is where you'll put your own writing, copy and paste, right? Copy and paste from your welcome letter, copy and paste your discussion activity, but you're just gonna copy and paste your own writing right here. I wanna see it all as sort of one big chunk, one big paragraph, okay? So you're writing here. Then I just labeled this sentence 1, and then I went up here and, copied the first sentence in the paragraph and pasted it here. So I want to see each sentence by itself. And then I just labeled parts of speech, right? And I just chose whatever 6 words I wanted. So my, determiner, will, in this case, will is the future auxiliary we use to make the future tense. So will is the auxiliary and be is the verb. In this case, remember, our book is called Language Power. That's a great example of language is usually a noun, but here it's modifying power. So I say language is an adjective. About is a preposition. In is a preposition. And this is a determiner. And then I've got my content and my function words, right? I think I also noticed that I made a mistake right away there. My should be a function word since it's a determiner. But this is how I did it. I just sort of put it into this box, right? And as I'm saying to all of you, right, download this document, or for the people who are watching the recording, right, download the document and then just copy everything and paste it into your own document, right? You are welcome to use this as an example, as a template, and then just plug in your own writing, right? And then analyze your own sentences. So here I said sentence 2, and then again, I just went back up to the paragraph, found that second sentence, copied it, and pasted it here and did the same exact thing. 6 parts of speech, content and function words. I need to tell Dana that I think she's wrong about pronouns, but thank you, Anna, for correcting me. And the same thing, right, for sentence 2, sentence 3. And then as I say here, remember, you're doing this for 8 sentences, not just 3. In the example, I only did 3, okay? Then the self-reflection, I think this is really helpful to see. So remember, 300 words, and there's no right or wrong answer here. Here's some sort of a way to begin your analysis. So this activity was pretty difficult, but it was also very interesting. I learned a lot about the type of words I use. For example, I noticed that I used a lot of pronouns in my sentences. This makes sense because I was writing about my life and my experience, so it was natural for me to use the pronoun I a lot. However, I also noticed that I use a lot more content words than function words, especially in sentence 3. And if you look here at my example, you can see, right, a lot more content words over on this side and not as many function words. So I was very specific here, right? I used a lot more content words than function words, especially in sentence 3. I have more than twice as many content words. I don't think this is a bad thing, and maybe it's a good thing because content words are usually more interesting for the reader because they have a meaning. I also noticed that it was difficult to decide if some words were content or function words. For example, in a phrase like the best way to teach and learn in sentence 3. What part of speech is to and teach? Should they go together as one infinitive verb? I decided that to was a function word, maybe a preposition, and learn was a content word, probably a verb. I decided this because blah, 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 right? And again, you can see, I'm not looking for you to tell me why you are the smartest and the best and all of your answers are correct. I just want you to tell me a little bit about why you decided what you decided, right? And how you made that decision. So that's all I'm looking for in the reflection. There's really no right or perfect way to do it. Just make sure, this is my advice for all college students, right? The more specific, the better. So if you can say in sentence 3 or in sentence 5, or give me an example of a word that was difficult, that'll really, that's really going to help you as you continue to improve both your grammar and your writing this semester. So that's it. That's how to do grammar writing 1. This one is usually the most difficult, but I'll tell you right now, all the other grammar writing assignments are very similar. You analyze your own sentences just for different parts of grammar, right? After this, like I said, we're done with parts of speech and we're done with content and function words. We can start to talk about phrases, clauses, and sentence types. So any questions about grammar writing 1? What I want you to do, how to do it, anything?
Yeah, it's very clear, Professor.
Cool. I guess I'll say again, remember, I have office hours tomorrow. I have office hours Monday. I have office hours next Monday, next Tuesday. If you want to meet with me to talk one-on-one before you start, send me a text or an email, right? I'm here to help you if you need help. Cool. Anything about this before we go back to the lecture?
If I have a question, I send you an email, Professor. My room is too noisy. I'm sorry.
No problem. No problem. How many grammar writings this semester? At least 3. If we go fast, maybe 4, Zainab. We'll see how fast we can go. Again, what usually happens, we'll see how you feel, but usually the first one of these, the students are like, oh my God, why? Why did I take this class? I want a grammar quiz. This is too much. But by the end of it, it really will change how you see your own writing. I think usually it does. So we'll see. We'll see. Cool. Okay, if that's it, then I'm moving on. Remember that document, examples, the instructions, all of that stuff is there for you in Canvas right here. Grammar writing 1, assignment sheet, instructions, due dates, grading rubric, and example, all there for you in Canvas. Cool. All right, so let's finish up with a little bit about content words. Because again, you're going to do that for that assignment next week. And I think something that is often difficult for students is auxiliaries, and especially auxiliaries with prepositions and phrasal verbs, what's going on there. So let's look at that a little bit and see how fast we can go. So remember, as you already know, right, we already talked about this, but auxiliaries can also be called helping verbs, modal verbs, auxiliary verbs, whatever. For the rest of the semester, you can just call them an AUX. These are all auxiliaries. So if we look at these sentences, I want to make these a better color so that they kind of pop out here. All of these sentences have, or maybe they do, maybe they don't, have auxiliary verbs. How about in the first one, where, let's just start with our subject. I do not want to live in Los Angeles. Where's my subject?
I.
Subject pronoun, Yugurthan. And what's my verb?
Want.
Do.
Want.
Want.
I heard want.
Yeah.
What, mommy? It's want, absolutely. So where are our auxiliaries?
Do not.
Do.
Absolutely. And again, different teachers might call this these negative words different things. If you want to call, let's just call them an aux in this class. It really doesn't matter that much, you guys. It's still helping the verb. It's modifying the verb. It's giving extra information about the verb. So we'll just say not, do and not are both auxiliaries, right? Absolutely. How about the next sentence? I, same thing. I am the subject.
Subject.
Where's my verb? We already did this one, right?
Get.
So
Get.
do I have an auxiliary?
Yes.
Yes.
What is it?
Should.
And this is a modal, right? This is a modal.
Yes.
And this is about sort of recommendation, what, telling advice, telling someone what they can do or can't do or should do. How about the next one? I can hold my breath for 2 minutes, like we did.
I subject.
Good. And where's my verb?
Hold.
Excellent. So where's my auxiliary?
Can.
Absolutely. All right, so let's look. I'm going to make this a little bit. So these ones pretty obvious. How about these examples? I'm just going to mute some of you guys because I can hear my own robot voice coming back at me. Thank you, Anna. I appreciate you. All right. So how about this sentence? Can you help me find it? First, where's my subject?
You.
Good. Now, we haven't talked too much about questions in this class yet. Absolutely. You is the subject. And where's my verb?
Help.
Good. So do I have an auxiliary?
Yeah.
Can.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. How about this one? Yes, I can. I am the subject.
Yes.
What's going on here?
Is that
Where?
Is it?
Auxiliary. Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you. This is called, we call this like a hidden verb, right? Because what this person's really saying is, yes, I can help you, right? Let's be implied. This is where it starts to get interesting, and I wanted to look at commands, right? So I'm still going to say help is the verb, even though we didn't say it, and can is an auxiliary, right? Can is an auxiliary. So these are like hidden verbs. And I wanted to show you this in the context of this sentence. Open the door. What's the verb in this sentence? We've only got one.
Open. Open.
And what's the subject?
The door. You.
You.
I heard
You?
something was thank you. I heard someone being like, the door, like you kind of know it's not right, but
you is subject.
Absolutely. Right. This is, again, we could call it hidden. We could call it implied. There's a lot of different vocab we could use to describe this. But absolutely, if you've studied commands, you've probably seen this sort of hidden or implied subject. Actually, I'm going to make this color a little better here, so we'll do the same thing. So in English, we've got this weird thing where we can have hidden or implied subjects or verbs or, lots of different things here. But again, even in a sentence like this, we still do have a subject, even if it's not clear, right? Or even if it's not said out loud. And like we were saying, the door absolutely is a noun, but in this case, it's the object, right? It's the thing that's going to receive the action of the sentence, right? Okay, does this kind of make sense a little bit as we continue to the next slide?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. How about just a little more easy practice? Let's do the same with these. I'll make it a little bigger so it's easier to see. First one, I think you should buy a new car.
I subject.
Good. And where's my verb?
Think.
Excellent.
Do not.
Do not auxiliary.
Absolutely. Now, in this sentence, notice, do I have another subject and verb?
You.
Yeah. You. By.
Should.
By. Yeah.
And by verb.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Very happy. Now, again, we're getting ready for next week where I'm going to introduce compound and complex sentences, right? Here I've got one sentence with two subjects, two verbs. And again, I'm planting this seed now. That means two clauses. But it really doesn't matter. 1 clause, 2 clause, whatever. When we do our analysis of the parts of speech, the same rules that we learned, we use them, whether it's a short, simple sentence or a long, complex sentence, right? So absolutely. In this case, should is an auxiliary, buy is the verb. How about this one? Buy the car. You got buy.
Buy is the verb. You
Where-
is
You is
subject.
subject.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how about this one? Will you buy the car? Where's our subject?
You
You.
subject.
Excellent.
Buy is verb.
Good.
Well is auxiliary.
Well is auxiliary.
I heard it. I heard a few people saying will is the auxiliary. Thank you, everybody. And how about in this one? Yes, I, subject.
Well is
Hiding
word, auxiliary. Auxiliary.
Excellent.
Buy
And then-
is the
so this is that hidden, implied, sort of understood verb, even though it's not in the sentence, right?
yes.
Absolutely. You guys seem, I know I'm only hearing a few voices, but it seems like this is pretty clear to you guys. So I want to, if this is clear, then I want to go next to auxiliaries versus prepositions, which can be a little bit more difficult. But does this make sense? Implied or hidden verbs, especially if we've got a sentence with modals, especially with modals, modals in particular, but any auxiliaries. Gus says, yes, it makes sense. Good.
Yes. Yes.
Moving on, 3, 2, 1. All right. Now, where does this get more difficult, right? I already showed you this. Okay. Okay, now phrasal verbs. Have we talked about phrasal verbs? What do we know about phrasal verbs just before I start? Anything? Ooh, good. I better just, I'll do like a very quick review of this then. Okay, so let me make a new slide here. Phrasal verb is one verb, at least 2 words. In English, we do this all the time. And my examples are usually, I think about electronics or anything that has an on or off switch, right? Turn on, turn off, turn up, turn down, plug in. Well, I mean, we've got all these examples of phrasal verbs in English, and it's
right. Pick up too.
Say again.
Pick up.
Pick up. Perfect. I love it. Anybody
Look
else?
up.
Pick up.
Look.
Yes, like look up in a dictionary, right?
Drop off.
Drop off. Excellent. Yeah, more car words. Look up, drop off. Absolutely, right? So this is a phrasal verb, and you could study this in a reading and writing class. Sometimes students learn phrasal verbs like vocabulary, which is very true, right? Phrasal verbs are kind of like idioms. They have very specific meanings, right? I mean, there's no reason, turn up, think about volume, right? Or how loud something is. That comes from in the past when you had something to actually turn, right? But now on your iPhone, you don't, or your cell phone, you don't actually turn anything, but we still say, okay, turn it up, turn it off, turn it down, whatever you want. So these phrasal verbs are very, very, very common in English. But what you notice is on, off, up, down, when we think of these words by themselves, what part of speech are they usually? You, Griffin, go for it.
Preposition.
Oh, you know.
Preposition.
Good. But I think Griffin was going to say it too. He had it. He was ready. Yeah, usually there's a prepositions, right? In, of, at, in, to, by, for. I mean, these are usually prepositions. But this gets difficult when we have phrasal verbs because you kind of have to ask yourself, okay, is this actually a preposition in this sentence? Or is this something like an auxiliary, right? Is this something that's connected to the verb, a part of the verb, helping the action of the sentence? This gets a little more difficult, right? This does get a little more difficult. So let's look at 2 examples. Auxiliary, let's play everybody's favorite grammar game, auxiliary or preposition. So look at these 2 sentences, right? Same word. Do not give up. Do not give up your dream. What do we think?
Do not is auxiliary.
Oh, excellent, good. And Marcel's like, I want to talk about do not before I talk about up, so that's fine. Do not is auxiliary, that's fine.
Yeah.
Say they're both auxiliary. We could
Yeah.
put them, we could
Yeah.
bracket them together. I agree. Now let's talk about give up.
Give up
Up
is
is a
Phrasal
Phrasal verb.
Sometimes it's a phrasal verb, but sometimes up is a preposition. There's a big clue that we've talked about this semester about how to know if something is a preposition. What's the rule for something
It
is
comes with a verb.
okay, anything else? How do we know? I think Bibi asked this at the beginning of this class. How do we know something is a preposition?
Connect between the verb and the noun.
Good. I know Yogurthan's getting at there's a verb before and then there's some nouns after. We're on the right path. Fauzia, what'd you say?
Connecting the words.
Good. It connects words. And I think this is kind of like what Yogurthan was saying. It connects, usually it comes after the verb, not always.
It's like
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
verb particle.
Yeah, did you learn the word particle in a grammar class?
Yes.
Absolutely, right? So this is what I mean. Different teachers, different textbooks. Maybe it's a particle, maybe it's a preposition, maybe it's an auxiliary. Different words, but it's the same thing. But I want to make sure we understand here. After the word up, what do I have here? What part of speech is dream?
no.
Dream is a noun.
No.
And what part of speech is your?
Pronoun.
If I go
Yes.
back to my list,
Your
Possessive adjective.
possessive adjective.
and remember, this British website calls it a possessive adjective, but in this class, what do we call it?
Determiner.
Thank you. I need to get rid of that word adjective. Actually, let me do that. Yes, it is a possessive determiner. That is exactly.
Yes. Determiner.
I want to get rid of that possessive. Let me write. Let me write. Much better. Thank you. I'm very glad that we fixed this. Absolutely. Right. So if I go back to my slide where I was, up your dream. Dream is a noun. Your is a determiner. So what do I have here? I've got a noun phrase. And remember, I've got a preposition. Then I've got a determiner. Then I've got a noun. This means I've got an object noun phrase, object NP. And again, get ready for more of this next week when we talk about phrases. But I've got an object NP. This means here, up must be a prep because it begins, a PP, a prepositional phrase, and is followed by the object NP, your dream. Now, if we look at the first sentence, what do we see? Do we see anything after this word up?
No, no.
So in this case, what we've got is this is a true verb, right? Like we can, so again, you might hear some people, this is an example where like we were talking about particles. We could say give is the verb and up is an auxiliary. That would be a fine analysis. Even in this class, you guys, if you want to think about both of these two words together, give up as the verb, both words, that's fine with me too. Now, if you like I think I've said before, when I was in grad school working with linguistics professors, you have people with PhDs who will disagree about, is up a particle? Is up a determiner? Is give up? Are both words one together, the verb? So it's not important, right? Whether there's one perfect answer here. It's more important for me that you understand if a word that looks like a preposition is taking an object noun phrase, it's acting like a preposition, you got a preposition. But if it's not, if it just seems like it's just part of the main verb, it's probably not a preposition. Does that make a little bit of sense? And then I'll show you more examples.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
It's not a preposition.
Say again, Mursal. I saw Mursal. Ina. Mursal, what was your question? And then Ina.
I feel like, yeah, it makes sense, but like it's a little bit, like too much confused because I didn't get like before grammar and like how to understand how to do that.
That's okay. Like I said, today's the last day we do this much detail, I promise. Then we can let go of being so detailed.
No, it's good because like we have to know like how to recognize that.
It will help you. And the next slide will make it more clear. I've got even more examples. Mursal, did you have a question too? Or
No, Professor, no, I don't have.
Okay. So then here's what I wanted to say. Prepositions versus auxiliaries. I didn't turn in my homework. I didn't turn it in. Did you turn it in yet? Now, I want to go back to this example. Notice when we have, oh, this looks too ugly. Let me make sure that you can read this by itself. Notice here, I've got, well, where's the subject in this sentence? Do not give up.
You as the subject.
Thank you. Implied, understood, hidden, whatever you say. We said do not are my auxiliaries. Now, notice, we don't really have any other nouns in this sentence, right? We have an implied subject pronoun, but we don't have any other a direct object, right? Now, in this case, you have something, they're saying don't give up this thing, right? Don't give up on something. And I wanted to, I think I just said this a second ago, but to make sure it's clear, if you see any kind of object pronoun, right? Like I say here, object pronoun, you're probably looking at a preposition. So if I go to these sentences, what I really want you to look at here is, do I see an object? Do I see any kind of object pronoun anywhere in these sentences? So let's look at this. I didn't turn in my homework. Where's my verb?
Turn.
Thank you. And where's my auxiliaries?
Didn't.
Didn't.
I agree. What part of speech is homework?
Homework is
Now.
The thing. And what part of speech is my?
The determiner.
Yeah. I was going to go back to my determiner slide. Absolutely. We're getting more comfortable. We're getting better. Okay. And so then if hopefully you can already see what I'm saying here, right? I've got this word in, but then I've got a determiner and a noun after it. So what part of speech is in this sentence?
Preposition.
Thank you so much, right? And in my homework is a prepositional phrase, Now, let's look at this one. I didn't turn it in. What's going on here?
I subject.
Yep, I is the subject. Thank you. We could do the same type of analysis that we've been doing.
I will be.
Then is the auxiliary.
Auxiliary. Turn verb.
Verb.
It is the object.
It is an object. Thank you very much. So what is
in? Preposition or no?
Good. Now, here's the thing I wanted to tell you, and we don't do a lot of this in this class because teachers can really scare students with these phrasal verbs. But one thing that is really unique about phrasal verbs, and it's a little bit different than the prepositional phrase that's so clear and obvious, is prepositional phrases. You can put the object in between the two parts of the verb, and that is very, very difficult, right? So here I do have an object. That means in has got to be a preposition. And we have the same thing here, right? Turn it in. And here I say the same thing, right? So they're all prepositions because they all have object noun phrases. Here's the object noun phrase after the preposition, like we're used to. But in phrasal verbs, if that verb is going to take an object, we can put the object between the verb and the preposition. And again, I don't give you a big test on this because I think Ina said it right. This is such fine detail. So I don't need you to understand every single time you see this. But what I hope that when I teach you this is you start to see in other reading and other sentences when people split phrasal verbs up. Because the more you start to notice subjects and objects when you're reading, the more comfortable you're going to feel when you're writing your own sentences. So again, I'm not looking to test you on auxiliary or preposition, but understanding this will help you understand objects in sentences much more clearly.
I have a question, Professor.
Please.
Is it just happen for phrasal verb?
Do you have an example, or are you thinking of anything in specific?
No, just in this sentence, and in the end of the sentence and between the sentence.
Only phrase.
You use just this example you use in
with
the screen. Yeah.
With a preposition at the end of like in
yeah.
Like in this one with give up at the end of the sentence. Yeah, I think that's the best way to think about it. If it's just at the end of the sentence, or like I said a moment ago, there's not a lot of words, there's not a phrase, there's not even maybe there's not even another noun. Like we could say something like this, for example. It's a great question, Parisa, because watch. What color do I want to do this? Let's do this. We already did this, right? Up is act like an auxiliary, or like I said, you want to call this the verb, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But I could also say this. How about this one? So we do have a word after up. We do have a word after up. What part of speech is today?
I think adverb.
Yes, I heard someone who said it.
Determinate.
Adverb.
It is an adverb. And remember, we've got adverbs. Usually the most common we see, place and time, right? So here I've got an adverb of time. You could also say today, tomorrow,
yesterday,
next year, right? It really doesn't matter, right? It's all going to act like an adverb. Do not give up today. So here, even though we've got a word after the phrasal verb, after the word that looks like a preposition, right? It's not a noun, it's an adverb. Because it's not a noun, it cannot be an object noun phrase, and it can't be the object of the preposition. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
Thank you.
But that's really different than do not give up on the test. Do not give up in your study, whatever it is. Here we've got preposition. Here I've got preposition actually. Preposition, determiner, noun, right? Noun, noun, determiner. You know, we've got lots of different parts of speech after the verb that's giving you a big clue. Ooh, this is probably an object, right? This is probably an object for the prepositional phrase. Other questions about this stuff? So as I note here, right, in order to be a preposition, the word must take an object noun phrase. 90% of the time, this is basically like Parisa was just asking, that object NP, object noun phrase, comes after the preposition. But this is the only exception is phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs make everything scary. And that's why I will show them to you, but I don't ask you to do a lot of analysis of them because they can get very complicated very quickly. Like I said, I'll say it just one more time. My dream in showing this to you is that you start to notice these objects, especially object noun phrases, more often in English sentences. Because when you see them, it'll just help you understand the language even better. Questions?
Thank you, Professor. No question.
Welcome. I want to show you one more thing. So we've only got about less than 10 minutes, so I don't want to introduce a whole new topic. Save this for next week. But I do want to sort of, like I said, give you a basic introduction to and you'll get a lot more of this next week, okay? So I think we talked about this in one or two examples, but I want to make sure that this is clear. All right, I'm just going to make it real easy, right? Is the verb in all three of these sentences. Now, I think we, again, practiced this a little bit last week, but let's talk about subjects, because as I said, all English subjects are nouns. In English, the subject must come before the verb. Even in a question, right? We saw some questions, auxiliaries can come before the subject, but the main verb is still going to come after it. But there's also some other rules we should learn about English subjects. So what's my subject in it is important?
It.
Yeah, don't think too hard. Yes, it is the subject. How about English grammar is important?
English grammar.
English grammar.
Excellent. And if I make you let's do parts of speech here. What's a English grammar? What part of speech is grammar?
No.
Grammar is noun.
I heard noun and adjective. There is an adjective here, but where is the adjective?
English.
Absolutely correct. What type of grammar? English grammar. What type of grammar? French grammar. What type of whatever, right? Whatever. Okay, so let's leave this alone for a second. How about this one? Understanding the difficulty of English grammar is important. What's the subject of this sentence?
Understanding the difficulty. Grammar.
Are you saying
English grammar? English grammar is subject.
Grammar is a noun, right? We already talked about this. English is an adjective. So I've got an adjective and a noun after this little word of. What part of speech is this?
So, preposition.
So thank you very much. Preposition. And let's not even worry about this for right now. Okay. But notice, I can put all of these words together. And I'm going to make these hopefully a little more clear here. I could say understanding the difficulty of English grammar is important. That this whole thing, we talked about this like in terms of replacing a group of words with a pronoun. We could say, just like I did in the first sentence, it is important. Oh, okay, what is important? Well, understanding the difficulty of English grammar is important, right? Now, let me ask you something. Did I already talk about this, or did we learn this group of words, this collection of words? What we have a name for this. What is it? I'll tell you right now. This
Sentence.
is not a sentence because this group of words doesn't have the verb in it, right? We don't even have the verb in it. This group of words is called a noun phrase. This is a group of words that must go together, but does not have a verb in it. And one thing that is so difficult about academic reading and writing, you guys, is as you continue to improve in your English, this type of sentence with a huge, long subject noun phrase with 5 words, 7 words, 10 words, it is so common in academic English. And you get like, it feels like a whole sentence sometimes before you even get the verb, right? And that is really, really challenging at first. But next week, what I'm going to show you is how to understand phrases, clauses, and how they come together to make up an entire sentence, right? So let me just show you one more example and then we'll get out of here. So again, a sentence, I'm making it a little crazy here, but this is a totally grammatical sentence, right? The information from the book in the grammar class from last year at ARC was great. So here I've got was, here I've got great.
Adjective.
Exactly. It's a thank you. Perfect, right? This goes back to describe this whole group of words, right?
Yes.
It looks weird. This is another an example of, and again, we'll see much more of this next week, example of a subject noun phrase. Now, you've already seen this. I've said object noun phrase a lot, even in this class, right? Because in the car, right? Well, here, car is the object NP, object noun phrase, right? And this whole thing together, it's sometimes hard to see how these words go together, but this whole thing together, oh, excuse me, I should put this here. In the car is the object noun phrase, but in the car, those three words are the prepositional phrase, right?
Yes.
So again, we don't go too deep into this. I show it to you and then we move on because it will help you understand sentences. But the more you start to think about this as like my metaphor, even before I came to Los Rios, and we have so many amazing Russian, Ukrainian, Belarusian, we have so many amazing students from Eastern Europe. But my metaphor for this was always these Russian nesting dolls, right? Like English clauses and phrases. It's like there's a little object noun phrase inside of a prepositional phrase, and that prepositional phrase is inside of a bigger subject noun. It's really amazing, right? Now, again, I don't want you to be scared. I'm never going to ask you to do like a full analysis of every phrase in English grammar. But I do want you to start to see how these little things nest and fit inside of each other. Because when you start to see it, you're really going to start to write better sentences. That's kind of how this class goes. So that's my like very fast introduction to phrases and clauses, which we will talk much more about next week. But that's it. I'll save the rest of it for next week. So remember, all I'm asking you to do or suggesting, I don't have any new lessons in Canvas. So I suggest you finish lessons 1 through 9. But even if you wanted to just do grammar writing first, because remember, that does have a due date. It's due in 1 week. So if you just want to do that and save the other lessons for later, that's fine. But I promise you, those grammar lessons 7, 8, and 9 will help prepare you because you get to practice the same thing that I'm asking you to do in grammar writing 1. So that's it. You're wonderful. Thank you for a great class. I can stay for a few more minutes to answer questions if you need any information, but otherwise you're wonderful and I will see you all next week.
Thank you, Professor.
Tina.
Professor. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you for correcting me. I need to go back to study Professor Ferris's book and tell her I think she's wrong.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Tina. See you.
Yeah.
See you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye, Yugurthan. See you later.
Bye.
Of course.
Thank you, Professor. Bye.
So welcome, Zuhal. Have a great night.
You as well. Bye.
Bye, Professor.
Sundar, thanks for being here.
Welcome, sir.
I have a question, but I don't have a question, but I want to talk about my homework, teacher.
Sure. If it's about your homework, let me stop the recording.